Sorry about that.
Don't worry.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
So those are the two ones that we have as in for now, and the ones that are keeping us in the market, and the ones that we're keep on wanting to
You
grow in there and be
keep,
on.
you keep hammering the market with the Jenny
Yeah.
Rivera and the Tragos Amargos, obviously.
Yeah. With Dragos and Marcos, we've been experiencing a little bit more things because we're working with influencers. So it's been like something new. We've been jumping into the digital area. So we're like learning and keep on growing and keep on with new what's going on new.
Yeah.
New
And,
technology
and,
and everything.
and Tragos Amargos is still with the same distillery, right?
Yes. Both of our brands are still with the same distillery back in Zapopan. There, we're still working the same. It's everything same.
Bear with me. I'm going to reintroduce you. Folks, if you just joined us, I'm speaking with Diego, who is the marketing director of Tres Coronas, or Three Crowns.
Yeah.
Three Crowns Imports, and they import Tragos Amargos tequila, which we have had here at sipping off the cuff, and at Tequila Aficionado. And Jenny Rivera, we've never been able to get samples. So maybe I'll talk to you off camera and we'll figure out how we can do that.
Oh, most definitely. You need to have a sample of our Jenny Rivera.
Absolutely. And so I off camera, I had a chance to meet the owner of the company. And what Diego was telling me was that he was very passionate about tequila. So I guess it's just an interesting story of, especially with I mean, Jenny Rivera was one of those, it was just a climbing celebrity brand, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And then and of course there was a tragedy where she passed away mysteriously, and but I don't want to dwell on that. But the brand has been still growing. I mean, it's become as legendary as she has, obviously.
Right. Yes, and we've been working with that same mission since it started, which is keep all her legend that she grew herself here in where she was alive.
Yeah.
She became a really popular Latin singer, which is
you can catch a lot of her. Yep, she's upper echelon, and she and I guess her certain family members have followed her into the music industry. And,
yes, they're still like touching their doors and they're keeping moving themselves.
That's cool. That's cool that the brand hasn't fizzled away. It's a certain. I like to say that Latinos and Hispanics are very loyal. They're very brand loyal, and a lot of these people are very brand loyal to her. Obviously, I mean,
yes. Like, our fans are always looking back for her tequila, and it's where our market is located right now. That's like our target, just fans, Jenny Rivera. So we have like for both, for the female and the male one, which is for Tragos.
Oh yeah, that's cool too.
Towards males,
Is that your idea? Is that how is that your game plan to market Tragos Amargos to the male population?
Correct.
And then Jenny Rivera to the really?
Yeah,
do you find there's a lot of crossover, cross pollination?
We've been trying to match them, and we try to cross over, and it's been working as in for now. So it's actually pretty good because we thought one brand would be just for one type of target, and then the other one for another one. But actually, we have to cross them over, and we see them as probably as brother and sister.
Yeah. Even though they're separate distilleries, they're not made at the same place, obviously.
Correct. But
so how long has 3C's been in business? How long have you guys been importing?
We're going for the ninth year. This.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
How long have you been with them?
I've been there for a year.
Oh, okay. All right.
I joined the team, and we're working together to.
I was going to say, if you grew up in the business, you must have been, has anybody carded you yet? Because it's funny because I've never, we communicated off and on online, but I'd never met Diego. And so when I was kind of a shock to me, because I was expecting a much older gentleman, because some of the other importers that I've met before have, they're all dogs. They've been in the business they've been in that business for 8, 9 years. What was your background previous to the importation?
I've been always in the field, but now I've been always in touch because I was a friend. I'm friend with Roberto, which is the owner.
Okay.
And we were always like talking about tequila and this and that. I've been always informed about it. And I've been into it, but I was in a completely different industry, still and importing, but it was with produce.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was back in there with produce, so it was a little bit different, but still in the same kind of the same field with its importing, exporting. But yeah, I'm now here helping Roberto in the marketing part with the tequila, and it's been
So,
a complete adventure.
well, like, tell me the adventure. I mean, what's a memorable adventure in your year plus that you've been with the company?
You know what? Every day we try to make it as an adventure because we're like, oh,
I bet this is an adventure. I'll tell you that much.
yes, we're like always having fun. I don't see it as a job. I just see it as something that I like and I'm passionate for. Because we're always working with this either influencers or some celebrities, or anything could happen in between getting into each other, meeting some new people, and how we could collab and jumping into the new trendings that are going. And that's where we are right now. Joining some other things, keep on growing the company. We just joined the Chamber of Commerce here in our county, and we're glad about that because it's the first time they're joining there. So it's kind of a fun adventure.
Yeah, no kidding. You get to go to all those meetings, like Chamber of Commerce meetings, all the mixers, and you get to bring the booze. That's cool. That's a good way to make friends.
And also, we've been learning. Well, I've been learning about different tequileros that we meet, with different brands, and what we learn from them, and how could we help them out as well.
There's a gentleman out in your neck of the woods. He has one of the most celebrated organic tequilas ever. He's a personal friend of mine, Dr. Adolfo Murillo, he's the owner of Alquimia Tequila.
Oh, okay.
And if you haven't met him, or if you haven't had your eyes checked, you should find him, because he's an optometrist by trade, or an ophthalmologist. He has something to do with the eyes. But he's had this. It's one of the most awarded organic tequilas. I love that brand. I love the guy. He's such a good guy. He's a good guy to know, because I always say that with brands, especially in the Latino community or Latinx community, whatever you want to call yourselves,
Yes.
Or ourselves, there's strength in numbers. You go further by giving everybody else a leg up instead of trying to see where your competition is. You know what I mean? And I'm sure you know that by now, especially in the tequila industry, because it's so packed.
It's a complete world.
Well, let me ask you, what are your special, what challenges have you come up with? And you don't come from the liquor side of things, but now that you've been in it, you've seen probably firsthand. So what kind of challenges are you seeing for 3Cs in order to overcome and get over that hump?
Yes, right now I'm on my eyes are in working not just to get into the retail stores, but how are we gonna do to get the consumers to go to those retails and buy a product so that our product keeps on running.
Right.
That's where my main concern is at.
Repeat customers.
Yes, it's not just touching the retail stores, the liquors here. I think that's the easiest part. The hardest part here, I consider, and we've been doing analytics and everything, it's how we get the consumer to go and purchase and keep on doing that, the cycle.
Yes, the repeat customers.
Yes. That's where my main concentration is right now, because we want to move inventory. So it's not just getting into the store. We could be in any store, but what would I win, or what would our prospect be like just be in that store if a product's not gonna move?
Exactly.
And this is regarding, because like every other company has been tumbling and going up and down, and that happened out of states. where at the beginning, yeah, our product was in every other store, but people pretend not to buy it. So we were like, okay, our product now it's burning there, or it's not working there, it's not moving. But why is it not moving? Well, we need to show people how to probably educate it, come up with new strategies,
Mhm.
a new plan, a new marketing plan. That's where we are right now. And we just jump into all the digital area, which is a total complete world. And it's so amazing because you go into web or anything and you start globalizing your brand, or you come up with some new ideas, some new trendings, and you have to be innovating every day. You have to show people how to drink it, how with a new recipe, how to do it at their house, how to join it with some friends, how to it's thinking how to convince our consumers to keep on drinking our tequila. That's the new adventure that I am right now, and where I want to focus with both of our brands. And as of for now, we've been trying to place in some strategies that have been working out. So we're really glad about that.
Have you noticed that how many states are both those tequilas in?
They're in California, in Texas, Illinois, New York. Our goal for this year is to enter Florida and Colorado. That's
Oh, good. Excellent. Okay, that's good. The reason I say that is we have a team of tasters. It started with just myself and the guy who he's the founder of the website. And
Oh, okay.
this is like 20. This is the beginning of our 23rd year of drinking online. We've been doing that. We grew up with the internet. I mean,
Oh,
we
wow.
grew up when we didn't have video. We didn't have Zoom. We didn't have Skype. We had nothing but audio. And
Right.
our very first sipping off the cuff is complete audio. And so like I said, we grew up and we've been doing this, pandemic didn't stop us at all. In fact, people drank even more. And I said, well, nothing's changed. We're still drinking online. We invented it. So
Yeah,
um,
for us, it's something that we're just there every day. It's not new.
yeah, well, I was going to say, so you're in those states. Do you find that your marketing strategy differs from state to state? In other words, have you been able to? Is there a template that you're following, or do you have to come up with a marketing plan for every state in order to keep those plates spinning?
Yes, every state is a little bit different. I have one for California, and then I have one for out of state.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
and how are they both working?
Why? Because in California we distribute directly. Out of state we work with distributors, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And as of for now, for example, there's some liquors here that have their own website and their digital platforms. So what I work with right now, it's partnership with them with marketing. Okay, I'll give you everything. It doesn't matter, all my flyers, all my information regarding my tequila, so that you could share it. And that's something that we could both have. So you could move your product, and I can provide you with all the information with images, videos of what people want to see right now.
Do you now, you're obviously I was expecting a much older gentleman, but this is cool because I want to learn. The liquor industry knows that every 10 years, every decade, there's a new generation of drinkers.
Yes.
And you're the target market right now. I won't ask you your age, but you're probably about 20 longer than, maybe more than 20 years younger than me. And so, I've got a few decades in front of you, and I've seen that every decade changes. Every, the liquor strategy changes for every generation upcoming. So this is interesting for me to know where you're going to concentrate your efforts in order for, the target market you're after, yourself and the other generations after you.
Correct. Yes, yes.
How do you find that your marketing plan evolves continually? I know you got to be nimble. You have to be light on your feet. This isn't working here. You're in Ventura County. Well, this isn't working in LA County. So what am I doing? Do you find that your strategies are not only changing from state to state, but also from like county to county, from area and region to region?
Yes, because sometimes, for example, today we're doing something, we upload it, we post it, and then tomorrow something else comes different, and I already had a plan, and it's like, okay, I need to upgrade this, I need to change it. Why? Because I rather go with what's trending than keep what's there. And I don't want just to keep my mind. I want to go what's going on outside.
So what kind of trends do you see? What kind of trends do you forecast where it comes to your brands of tequila?
For example, right now it's the cocktail thing. It's people want to see how to prepare something at their house, how to join it with some other foods, how to drink it. It's videos. The reels on Instagram are coming crazy. And the new trend, which is TikTok, it's just goofing out with videos. People, the majority of the people are right now there. So we have to be.
You know, and I wanted to ask you this. We are on every platform you can imagine. As a matter of fact, we converted over to Zoom because we were on Skype for the longest time, because Zoom can upload faster onto Instagram, IGTV and Reels. Although long form is probably not, what our people who our managing partner who handles all of our business and marketing as well. She does a lot of in-depth studies into every platform that we're in. And what we've noticed for us is that, to upload long form on IGTV doesn't convert as quickly as short form. Like, yes. And so typically when you do a video on your cocktails, how short do you or long do you make them?
I try to make them as short as in 30 to 60 seconds, no longer than that. Okay. No longer than that. Why? Because I've been doing some experiences that people don't last more than a minute watching a video.
Yeah, even with our reviews, I think our typical view is about 4 minutes. That's on average, but I'm surprised that on YouTube we actually do get, when we do these interviews, we get a lot of people who sit down and go, I've never heard of an importer, And,
yes, what? Yeah, because every social media works a little bit different. I've been noticing that. For example, for Instagram, people don't last more than a minute watching a video.
No, because they're doom scrolling.
They scroll, yeah. When the most important seconds of a video are the 5-second ones, the first 5-second ones. Once you catch a viewer in your first 5-second ones, you got it. And then the most important part is the algorithm catches that. So
depending on the platform, right?
Yes. It all depends on the platform. So once you work with those two, you have a lot of engagement with your followers.
Wow. So it's like a movie. You watch a movie. Let's say I'm a big Marvel fan. So you start the Marvel movie with an explosion. The car explodes. Well, you got my attention. So is that what you're doing? You're making your image or whatever it is that you're photographing, the cocktail. The first 5 seconds are you? It's probably all image. Not even noise. You're probably just, it's ice falling into a glass or something, right?
Right. Yes. Those are like the most important part of the 16 seconds video.
Let me ask you too another question, and it's interesting you bring up TikTok. Because TikTok for the longest time was like was a dance party or whatever. I mean, it's kind of evolved with all the new users, and what happened during the last administration, and now, in the past we haven't played with TikTok because, and I've noticed now that some of the brands are going there, and it's basically becoming a commercial. They're running commercials. How effective is that? You tell me. I'm picking your brain now because I'm seeing this, and then I'm going to ask you another question. So how effective are these commercials? Are these brands that are, they're literally, a minute, 2-minute commercials, whether it's a condo in Florida or Cancun or a travel thing. What are you seeing that's why is that?
You know what? You just took a really cool topic, which is what we've been working on, because we jump into TikTok. well, since it started, you know, it's
Right.
just started as dancing and lip moving from a
Lip
singing.
syncing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it all started with TikTok.
Yeah.
And how we as consumers have been taking it to a different level, because now everyone wants to create their own content. So now, for example, TikTokers try to have their own content so others can do the same thing, not just from the how it's all started from.
Right.
So as in for that, we took it, I see it as a company now. We have to join part of that, have some commercial, but some goofy enough things.
Okay.
So the consumers can see both things. It's not just a boring platform there where you could just read or see just about a product. No, it's just, for example, we work with influencers or with some other TikTokers. They do our content. We send them our product and they just take a shot, teach some other people how to drink it, or we give them out free type of content, and it's been working out pretty good.
So are you seeing a conversion? Are you seeing, how do you measure that? How do you know that what you're investing in, sending out free product and to these particular influencers, you probably check them out, you probably, look at their followers or whatever.
Yes.
I don't know what kind of metrics you're using to decide, oh, I'm going to go with that one.
How I measure it, it's
Yeah.
the amount of followers they have and how active their followers are. How do you measure that? Because of the amount of views they have on every video, on the type of how many comments they have, how many likes they have on every video, and our statistics. I'm on top of that every day.
So do you see that there's a conversion? Is there an ROI for you?
Yes, it is. For me, yes. I mean, like, that's how we went from 100 to 1,200 in less than a month followers.
Okay, but are your followers buying the bottles off the shelf is what I want to know.
They are, and that was my main concern, and that's how I measure it. Because
are they showing the bottle? I mean, I went out and bought one or whatever?
Yes. They keep on tagging us, and that's how we measure it. And we also call the stores, hey, people are saying that they watch you on some other platform, they watch you on TikTok, they saw your bottle on Instagram. Our main focus right now is on Instagram and TikTok, which are the highest ones, and where we keep our main concern in there.
Okay. What could you tell me, and because you're a stats guy, which is good, because I'm enjoying this conversation, folks, because we don't get to see this. We see TikTok, we see the screen, we see the IGTV. That's all we see. But this is the brains. This is how it gets to your screen. Okay, so I want to. This is really cool. So let me ask you, what is the average age of your viewers? Of the viewers are they of drinking age? And the reason I asked this question is, you might remember that Wiz Khalifa, I think, got in trouble. He was a brand ambassador for a vodka at the time that TikTok, the users on TikTok were much younger and not of drinking age, and he got in trouble for that. So I'm asking, do you know what the average age of your viewers is? Are they of drinking age?
Yes. That's something that before you even start engaging people, and every platform gives you the option, what ages, what type of gender, everything you want to engage. So once you jump into that, you have to make sure you're engaging 21 and older.
Okay.
For example, our target on Instagram is from 24 to 35.
Yeah, that's pretty much, that's everybody's target.
That's everybody's target.
Yeah. So, except, what's interesting is Tequila, what we've noticed for our metrics is that Tequila, the interest in Tequila doesn't wane after that mid-range point. It's still, the interest is still there. And I think that has a lot to do with the drinkers obviously a little bit more mature, and so they're gravitating to the more aged expressions, because we saw last year and a couple of years extra neos, super premiums, and now reposados are really catching on.
Correct. For example, for that average of age from 24 to 35, we know they're both on TikTok and Instagram. For people older, our statistics came out that we should be on Facebook. So
Right.
I have to come up with different content
Wow.
because
So,
if
so when you do that, do you guys have like a production company? I mean, you know, if you're going to do a cocktail video, you can spend a couple of hours, but you got to, who does your splicing and your editing? Because you want to edit that down. You want to distill it down to 60 seconds, right?
like,
So how do you guys have like an in-house production company that does that or what?
yes, we have a team which helps me out with, we need to set this video into a certain amount of minutes, certain amount of seconds, because it's going towards one social media. Or for example, Facebook gives me the opportunity to do more than a minute. So
Right.
then their Facebook, we know people from 35 to probably 60 are gonna stay in the phone and not scroll down, but just watch there. So we know we could place in probably a 2-minute video.
Okay.
And for all that, yes, we have a team, which when all this came out and all the ideas were dropped on the table, I was like, okay, we need a team because this and this is gonna go, and we have to create content for each platform. Why? Because of our target people and what people are watching are at different ages. So it's not what we want; it's what people in the phones are watching.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Do you have you had the opportunity, or do you find that when you create content that you can repurpose that same content? In other words, you're going to take 2 hours to video a cocktail. You have a mixologist who's putting this together and he's talking to the camera, and you have all this footage. So do you find that you've been able to repurpose the same footage and make it a bit longer for Facebook, make it shorter for TikTok, because you want to, you make the investment in the video crew and the mixologist and the booze. Have you been able to do that, or do you
Yes.
really have to? No, we're not gonna do the cocktail thing here. We're gonna do it over here. Because that's a lot of plates to juggle.
Yes, I've been working on that, and I'm still there. And yes, I have to break my head out of that. I'm like, I'd rather give people what they want instead of what I want. So I'm always on that. If we have to wait a day for one social media, we'll wait for that until it's ready to go. But as in for now, yeah, that's how we're working now. One
Okay.
for one thing. Sometimes we're like, okay, this could work for that as well. So we just for both.
Okay.
Or hey, no, this might not work. And how do I measure that? Because of statistics. Because each platform gives you different statistics. So I'm always going towards where I get more engagement.
Now, let me ask you this now, because you're dealing with influencers, and for years, for especially the last, I would say 3-4 years, there has been a crackdown on fake vanity numbers. Buying. So how do you know you're dealing with a real deal versus somebody who's got, I don't know. I see these ridiculous numbers of people I've never heard of. They got 300,000 followers, and they're only following like maybe 20 people. You know what I mean? I'm exaggerating. So how do you get through the crap? How do you wade through that?
Well, once you have to do your research. You have to go to every platform they have and see how active their followers are. So you start working first with stories. Okay, the main one is Instagram. Once you have a bunch of viewers, that's where you see, okay, this person will give me what I want, which is followers, engagement, for ending or for looking forward to sales. That's how I measure it. And as in for now, with the influencers that we were working with, they have bringing us a lot of followers and a lot of engagement with different other people. And how do we measure that? Because people start DM us or messaging or through Messenger or through even commenting on TikTok. Hey, where can I find this bottle? Or I want this bottle. Or it's all being on top of it and see what people are commenting or even direct messages. It's our platforms are every day on top, like full of messages. So that's how I measure it. and that's how we know it's working out.
Do you have a social media person that just handles your social media and gives you those numbers, or are you the guy that does it?
I'm the guy that does.
Oh no, no. Well, I appreciate that because, with Tequila Aficionado, because we're on every platform, we've had to find ways to automate some of the stuff that we put out on depending on the platform. But when it comes to Instagram, it's usually myself and our managing partner, Lisa Peach, who is really the brains of this whole operation, because otherwise we'd still be drinking online with a couple of guys, and she has been the reason for our growth. I mean, we now have a magazine, which is unheard of. When she brought that idea to me, it was right before the pandemic, and previous to that, publishing magazines had kind of fallen away. Remember, the Bon Appetit was gone away, and
yes,
all these. Time magazine got really thin. Nobody was advertising except for Patron, right? Because Patron owned Rolling Stone. If they were on like every page, they bought several pages of advertising. They took advantage. They took advantage of the problem with magazines having to find sponsors because they were shutting down. So newspapers were consolidating. So I thought print was dead. And when we discussed the idea of having a magazine, I said, okay, but look, if we're going to do this, here's what I want. I want our image to be Instagram you can hold in your hand. And that's why I asked you the question of repurposing. Because, you spend money on a photo shoot. You spend money on a video shoot. You're not only taking video, but you're taking photographs of the same shoot. So you got photos on one side, you have video on the other. You can condense, right, and that way you can, so but as well as I do, when you start scrolling through posts, you got a pretty picture, you got a sunset, you got a picture of a bottle, you got some spectacular, and then it's gone, then it's gone. And so what we found is that we've been very fortunate that many of the brands who decide to advertise with us in our magazine are repurposing their photos that they have paid for previously. So they're getting, it's cool. We're giving them a reason to repurpose product.
There you go. That's the key.
Yeah.
Giving people what you guys talk about and what was the main purpose. It's something that both parts can use.
Exactly.
For example, that's how I work with the influencers. Some of them, we send them our product and they post it on their stories. So I'm like, just tag us so that we could repost it. And I could use that as content for my social media. So it sounds to me like in California, folks, if you're not familiar with our state laws, you can be an importer and your own distributor. Okay. And so this is what you folks do. So do you have a fleet of salesmen that go and visit accounts and start opening up accounts and things like that? Tell me you're not the guy doing that too. Okay? I do it just when I have time, but for now I have not been having full time. So
yeah, you got your hands full, man, because the social media keeps it's like a cell. It keeps separating and then or the current virus variant, it evolves.
Yes.
And so you really got to, like you say, you got to be on top of that trend. So do you often do ride-alongs with your sales guys just to see what people are getting on the street?
Yes. We're like constantly touching doors, and he's in charge of calling stores and see how the product's moving. I need statistics from every 15 days. I like to have every 15 days statistics to see if my work is working or how could I improve it, or if it's not working, why is it not working? If it's working, why did it work? What did I do right, so that we could keep on improving that, so that we could keep on engaging people.
Wow. But and that's just California. Now I can imagine that the other states, your head's exploding because those states that you're in right now they're well-known hotspots for tequila.
Correct. Yes.
And that's why I was going to ask you. I'm glad you mentioned Florida, because that's the next one, Florida. the South, I think Georgia is another one overlooked. I'm glad you're in Illinois because that's another hotbed for tequila.
Yes.
Have you found that the pockets of north of your county, like San Francisco and Central California, there are, to me, those are hot pockets of tequila as well?
We are in the north. We are you could find our products and put for less.
Oh well,
For
yeah.
less some other liquor stores around the San Francisco area.
Do you,
Oakland.
can we find them in Vallarta?
You can find them in Vallarta, in Northgate, and La Superior.
Oh, cool. Okay. So
And
so are you have you found success then dealing with these are folks, if you're not aware, these are chain stores that are his Latino owned. They're a lot of, you know, it's like they have Asian markets. We have, you know, we have bodegas, you know, in New York. So for us, it's these are well-known chains. These are probably in Southern California as big as, you know, Avon's or Pavilions or,
correct.
you know, they're the same. Again, there's a lot of cross-pollination.
Yeah.
Are you finding that you got a lot more success dealing with those supermarket chains that are owned by Hispanics or, you know, fronted by Latino
Yes,
board
it's
members or
been
families?
yeah, it's been a really successful partnership, I would call it like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And with the ones that we were like directly or with liquor stores, because they're a little bit, they're not chains. So we could exchange and repost information marketing wise and everything.
Yeah, the independent liquor stores are different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then with chains, they have their own marketing department, and it's a little bit harder for us to probably communicate marketing wise. But we've it's not stopping us from it, because I've been in touch with that. Like, hey, I know you're Super Vallarta, I know you're a big corporate, but how can we work in the marketing part? Where can we trade some marketing information, flyers, everything? I mean, like, it's all we could. I mean, like, we could work on that, just providing you with that. That's how I work with some of the liquors, because, you know, it's just giving them information. It's been working out, because they don't have to work their head out of the how to, because every store has their top selling brands, and they're not gonna put you on top of that because you're a new brand, and we all know that. That's how it works. And we're not I don't have anything against that, because that's how the market works.
Yeah.
So it's our homework to keep on with the information and with the marketing and this and that, and it's been work well with the liquors. I work directly with the marketing plan. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's you wow, you're all these, you know, all these challenges. And again, folks, this is something that we don't see. We just see the bottle on the shelf. We don't care how it got there. Some people don't. You know, our viewers do, because they, you know, have you found when you go out on the street, you know, maybe you go visit a liquor store just randomly, you know, you make an appearance, you show up, and you want to see what people are, how they're reacting, what they're gravitating to as far as tequila. And have you do you observe, like, I don't know if you're available in Total Wines right now, you may not be, but, you know, if you go to Vallarta, for instance, and you see just how people, you just kind of stand there and see how they, because for those of you who don't shop there, they have everything's behind glass. You have to ask for help to get there, right? But you see everything, and they have a pretty wide selection. Most of them have a good selection of tequilas. They're usually the usual suspects, but you know, they have a lot of familiar brands that people of, you know, a Latino influence or heritage will gravitate to, like a Tragos Amargos or a Jenny Rivera, right?
Right.
So what do you see when you observe that, when you go in there? Is there a certain trend? Is there a certain thing that you notice that they behave differently? The behavior is different than it is when you go to like a Total Wine, for instance.
Yes. People have different type of behaviors, and even though, because those type of Latin chains, well, the majority of the people are from, well, probably 30 and up.
Yeah.
And the Mexican dads and moms are the ones that shop there. So on there, yeah, we have to like come up with something And I was just on that this week. I was like, okay, we have to teach them how to probably behave when they're in front of a class. And sometimes they even get shy to ask the cashier because they're afraid of they're gonna be like, oh, what if I just ask for the price and they don't want to tell me? Or, you know, as a Latino growing up with parents, my parents were a little bit shy, and I know how probably the misunderstanding and everything. So what I've been working, it's like, okay, we need to show our customers on Facebook, which are those type of people that go to the Target. We need to show them how to probably just a video like, hey, don't be shy, hey, do this, how to take them with the hand to the hand
Okay.
towards to purchasing a product of
And
our
and now, and the other, I think the other unique thing about your position is, let me ask you, is your content only in English? Is it English and Spanish? Do you have the same content in English, narrated in English, and then one in Spanish? You know, are you using Spanglish? I mean, you know, because that's a veces a mí me falla el español, y entonces tengo que, porque no lo practico.
Claro, no. Para eso es casi siempre en español. ¿Por qué? Porque our target, I'm going back to English.
It's okay. We're quick here, folks. No, I love this. I've been wanting to get some people behind the scenes. You know, again, you go shopping at Vallarta. How did this tequila get there? You know what I mean? And then what happens? How does it get off the shelf?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. That's where our focus is. Once we jump into the stores, and once we're then stores, how we're gonna work so people could take our product from the shelves.
Right.
Because we don't want something there. So
now, when you do your content, is that in English only or Spanish as well?
Spanish. It's,
really?
Yeah, the majority of it is in Spanish. Why? Because the majority of the people that have been always on, that's always like asking questions, any type, it's always in Spanish. Well, we know that because our target people, it's Hispanic.
Right.
So as in for now, I've been working, now I'm introducing more into English.
I was going to ask you, is it, wow.
I'm working.
There's so many, you know, waves to this.
Yes, there is. I mean, like, it's our biggest target is the Hispanic market. So for the Hispanic market, whether we like it or not, I mean, if it's first generation or second generation, both know English and Spanish.
Right.
And right now I was working with some influencers, which are a little bit average of my age. And we were like most are English, or our circle friends are more in English.
Right.
I was like, okay, we need to think on that market as well. We need to start making some Spanglish videos, some Spanglish things. For example, once you post on Instagram, it has to, I work with both languages, English and Spanish. If we're going to place a text, I don't know, nos encuentras en tal tienda, en tal estado, you could also find us in this store in both languages. Okay. I mean, like,
well, yeah, because you know, people of your age and even my age were bilingual, you know,
yeah.
And sometimes trilingual, depending on what you've done in your life. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's really important nowadays to work with both languages.
Yeah, I would say. Well, especially, you know, in the past, have like I said, Tequila Aficionado has been around for 23 years. This is our 23rd year. So I've seen, thank you. I've seen, you know, the trends of even names of tequila, you know, what you name your tequila. It's very interesting to me to hear you know, wines being named the way they're named, you know, because they sound like horse racing. You got these crazy names like a Secretariat wine. What are we selling? Are we horse racing, or are we selling wine? But then, you know, but the names are very unique because they got it in the labels, because, you know, you walk into a wine store.
Correct.
And I don't know wine. I grew up in Southern California, and all I know is California White Zin, but I know tequila, and I've watched it grow. And in the past, there was a stigma of tequilas that had Spanish names to them because the average consumer, you know, can't pronounce them. Because, you know, I just spent 8 years in Texas, and I know I had friends and neighbors, you know, that I lived in San Antonio for like 8 years. Previous to that, I lived in New Mexico for like 13 years. So I've seen, the Hispanic culture from a lot of different
Like,
points
from
of
one
view.
place to another.
Yeah, and growing up in Southern California, everybody was a friend. Asian people and black people. That's how we grew up in Southern
Yeah.
California. So, I, there was a stigma with tequilas being named in Spanish because the average consumer at that point couldn't pronounce tragos amargos.
Correct.
Because
Yeah.
that's how you're gonna hear it.
That's how you're gonna hear it. That's struggles.
Yeah, tragos. Yeah, like you're from Costa Rica, because that's how they speak. Yeah, I'm sorry. My folks are from Central America. They're from Nicaragua.
Oh,
And
okay.
so you can always they know. There's nothing more beautiful for me when you go to an international hub at an airport. Uh, I'll say Miami International because that was my. Even Houston, you can hear this, and you walk. While you're waiting for your flight, and you hear all these accents in Spanish. They're all speaking Spanish.
Yes,
They're
all
going,
different.
yeah, they're all different. Mira, ese es de Argentina, ese es un dominicano, aquí un venezolano, aquí viene, and we can all understand each other, but we don't understand our accents.
Our accents,
But
correct.
it's so cool. It's so much fun because it's such a, there's such a diverse people. And so, and that's why the beauty of where I lived before, I know what kind of Spanish and accents are coming from New Mexico, and where they're even northern New Mexico is different. And South Texas there's a million people in South Texas that nobody pays attention to, and we were talking about Tragos Amargos and targeting the Hispanic target market. South Texas, man, don't even, from San Antonio downwards, don't even, McAllen, all those areas, don't even worry about going to Dallas and Austin. You don't want to go there. Go south. There's a million people down there that want your tequila. So,
Yes, that's our second home, Texas.
really? How are the numbers? And it's mostly South Texas, right?
Yes, is like our top. It's Texas.
I love it. So so the challenge now is how do you break into an area that's so saturated like Southern California?
Yes.
What's the game plan, to make a splash? Because the brand is at least 8 years old, maybe older, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So it's been around. It's not it. I mean, but if it hasn't been on social media, it's never existed until now, right? But we know because we have the initial, we did the reviews years ago. So what's the game plan now
For breaking
California?
California, our goal is to be in every single liquor and probably store chains here in California, the most important ones, with the Hispanic ones.
Okay.
We've been touching those stairs. We have our history with the ones that we mentioned already, and that gives us like the background of how we work, and we're in the game already, and we're there in the market. That keep us on track of we're a serious company, where we have people that are actually buying it, and it's not just, hey, can you place in my tequila in your sales, which is sometimes it could be really hard because, for example, out of state, we have been crashing with that. Like, hey, we only work with big brands. Your brand, some people have even told us, some distributors have even told us, well, your brands are new. We don't work with new brands. If you want new brands, you have to go with some other programs, and for those programs, you have to pay all the logistics, and it's even worse on cost wise.
Wow.
So yes, it's always like a hustle. I could say it. It's not easy because some people out of state to say your brands are new. We can categorize them, or we can work with them as if there were some other big brands, and it's normal. But I mean, like, we're like, okay, if that big company didn't want to work, there has to be another company that could work with the brand. And so, doors open, doors closes, and we're still there. And that happens, that also happens here in California. Just that here in California, it's a little bit easier for us because we have the distributor license. So with that, we could knock every single door. It doesn't matter. We could go directly with the liquor's owner or whoever person's charge of purchases, or with any other supermarket chains. And it's a little bit easier, and that's where we have a lot of homework right now. But it's like our yard.
Wow. So you say up north, you're in
Food for less.
Food for Less.
We're in
Okay.
Food for less. We're in Sacramento. We're in San Jose, in Oakland, and what other store? I'm missing one, but yeah, we're up in north as well.
Okay. So we should plan on seeing more and more. There's the word influencer really just it's not a word that it's a buzzword now, because and just like ambassador was a big thing, and then it became a buzzword. You were just a glorified bartender for them, whoever the big brands, because it's always the big brands. The little brands are always going to run up against the big guys, the big guns, the usual suspects. Okay. Right. And not even the ones that we're thinking about. I mean, I'm talking about brands that we've seen. There's I'm going to throw out a name like Corralejo. Everybody says Corralejo, or Cabrito or Cazadores. Those are owned by big companies, folks. Those are still big brands, but they're going to be in these Hispanic supermarkets because those are the names that these people, like you said, that target market had grown up drinking.
Correct.
What I got to tell you, folks, is it's not the same juice. Okay. It's not the same. Don Julio isn't the shade of Don Julio what it was when we knew about it back then. Okay. But that's why I say the Hispanic population is very brand loyal. Are you finding that that's still the case even with the young influencers? Are they becoming like their parents, brand loyal, or their older brothers and sisters, or their aunts and uncles? Are they becoming brand loyal?
They're becoming brand loyal. Yes. Yeah. I mean, like that. There's like still part of that, but there's some other people that are like that happened with Don Julio. Don Julio has a really loyal target.
Yes.
The most of the consumers are like, okay, this is gonna go with that brand. Yeah. Hispanics are, you just said it. It's a little bit loyalty, but they also, as in for now, second generations still give the opportunity something new. So what's going on? What's trending? We see it on social media, we see it on websites, we see it any other places, and they want to go with that. I think people from 25 to 35 want to experience, they're focused on the experience of what it is.
Okay. And so whatever content you come up with is experiential. In other words, it's going to have a story, right?
Right.
That's the other thing that people are looking at, is what kind of story. We know about Jenny Rivera. We know about the tragic end of her, but we also have her music. Right. Her catalog of music that's still around, like Selena. She's made more money dead than alive. And they just did her movie, on Netflix.
On Netflix, yeah.
Yeah, I think my mother binge watched the whole thing. It's like, wow, really? And it's still there. So, but with Tragos Amargos, and I would say that do you find that the challenges are different from one brand to the other also?
Yes, there's total completely challenges for each brand. Both have their own challenges.
Wow, man. So when you decide on an influencer, are you looking at micro influencers? I mean, what's your threshold before you go, oh, you know what? I'm gonna keep an eye on this one. What's your threshold?
I work with the three ones, which is the nano, the micro, and right now I've been working with the nano and the micro. I haven't touched the whoever has more than
macro, I guess, is the macro. Yeah. That would be us. I mean, and the reason I ask that question is because in all the time that we've been on Instagram or even on social media, period, when we finally had a base to be on, we've never bought vanity numbers or followers. As a matter of fact, on Instagram, there's a lot of useless accounts that follow us that we eliminate all the time. Every couple of days, we're getting rid of, people with private accounts. If you're private, I can't use your content. There's no reason for you to follow me. You're worthless to me. I'm not going to follow you, and so we get rid of them. And we still have like 14,000 followers, which is pretty respectable for a niche market as tequila. So we're very niche, but we know this niche. We know it very well. And so that's why I wanted to find out what your threshold was. And so do you find that the for each of the nano, micro, and macro, that there are different, there's a different game plan for each of those as well?
Well, I like to be like a little more specific what I want to get from each. For example, with the micro, it has to be probably, I work with, they have to have people that I want to target.
Okay.
Because otherwise it would be useful.
Right.
Why would it be working with someone that I don't want to target or that are not going to be interested in my product? So I have to be like, before I even get in touch with them, it's okay, let me see for a couple of days what he's posting, what his stories are, what people comment, even the language, or even how they interact with their followers. If they have cool dynamics and everything, I'm like, okay, this will give us something that we're looking for.
Wow. Okay. Jeez. You got a tall order. I hope you have a good team behind you, man, because you're, I used to work for a paper, food, and chemical distributor when I lived in New Mexico.
Oh, okay.
And depending on the size of the distribution company, some salespeople were handling only the big corporate accounts like Walgreens and Walmart. So we had salespeople for that. And then and for me, my territory was south of Albuquerque. So I would go down south all the way down to Socorro. And it was, we only handled the individual, whatever. I sold everything but liquor. So I sold the Bev Naps, and I've sold ice cream, and I sold, everything. I dealt with hotel companies or people that owned hotels. And so do you have a fleet now of, because you were saying you've got it where you're dealing with the big store chains on one end, and then you have the mom and pop liquor stores on the other. So do you have like a separate fleet of salespeople that only handle the stores, and then the other one that handles the knocks on doors, on
Yes.
the small liquor stores?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely. I mean, like, we have to work with that. Otherwise, it wouldn't be.
Yeah, because you can't cross-pollinate the two, because the needs of the bigger chains are way different than the needs of the mom and pop.
Correct. And you can cross them.
So where do you see those two brands? And are those the only two that you bring? The only two tequilas you guys carry are those two?
Yes, and this is a new one that's coming up this year, which is Imperio 1974.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Box.
I want. I'm going to raise my hand now. When we go off camera, I'll shoot you our standard email that gives you all the details. Look at how beautiful that is. Oh, and I've seen that bottle. I know that bottle really well. With the glass. Is that, what is that, an extra añejo?
This is an extra añejo, correct.
Wow.
And this is the only one, I mean, like, for this brand, we're only coming out with an extra añejo.
Wow.
Which is a little bit softer. You could taste a little bit more. Yes.
Holy cow. Very nice. And so, obviously that game plan will be different, right? That marketing plan will be different for that.
It has to.
Yeah.
If you have time, we could talk about it.
No, actually, we're up to an hour, and I wanted to, I don't want to keep you, because this is exciting for me and for us, because again, as consumers, we don't see this. This is the back end, folks. This is the back of the house that you don't see when you go to a liquor store. Nobody asked that question. How does it get to my Vallarta, my local Vallarta here in Baldwin Park? But now I know, and this is really cool, especially for a guy as young as you, I applaud you, because you're so many challenges that you've met, and even the ones that people don't see, because 10 years ago some of these challenges did not exist.
Correct.
Because as you know, the distribution chains have consolidated. And so that's why you get the answers you're getting from some of these stores. Oh, we only do business with the big brands because they have the distribution in place. And so the smaller distributor has to really, it's a grassroots thing for you guys. And I applaud you, because honestly, that's where we've been for the last 23 years, is looking at these, the up and coming brands, because the Cuervos and the Don Julios of the world, they don't need us. They don't.
Correct.
And even though they send us stuff, that they do, they still, the PR companies don't know us from anybody else. They just, we come up on their Google, on their radar. Oh, we got we call it a spray and pray, so they throw stuff at us, and yeah, we'll taste it, but but I really want to thank you. Three Crowns Imports, folks. They're importing Jenny Rivera tequila and Tragos Amargos. So if you've seen those and you're watching us either on Instagram or you're watching us on our YouTube channel, subscribe first of all, because that helps us with the algorithm. Give us a like, right? Give us a like.
Yes. Subscribe, like.
Yes, subscribe, like, and share. If you guys are if you're having it, if you're buying it and you're doing something with it, tell us in the comments, okay? Because we want, just like his brands, we watch our brand as well, and we comment. We like to see that engagement. We have gotten a lot more subscribers in the last since pandemic, obviously, because people now there are more and more of us doing the same thing we've been doing, for 23 years. So it's cool. I'm good with that. And we've been talking with Diego Escobedo. He is the marketing director for Three Crowns Imports, 3C Imports, in Ventura County and the rest of California, north and south, and all the other states. And if you've had Tragos Amargos in New York, or you've had it in some of the other, Illinois, for instance, tell us what you're doing with it. Where is it located? Is it a good restaurant? Is it a great store? Are you in Binny's? That kind of thing.
Your experience.
Yeah, tell us what your experience is. And but thank you, Diego, for being here with us. I love this conversation. This has been really fun for me, because again, we don't get to see the back end of the house. We don't, this is really specific. We talk about us being niche. You're even more nichier, because they don't talk about and I've met a few importers and distributors who do that. I've met a couple of other ones, one in Arizona, I think you're allowed to do that, and another one in Southern California that I'm really good friends with. So before I sign off, where do you see these brands in about 5 years? If you had your druthers, where do you want to take these brands? Yeah, I know you were taking your customers by the hand. So what are you going to do with these?
I want to have it I want to have them all over the States.
Okay.
And I see them all over the States, and I want to increase our sales with both brands, start growing up, and with the boom of marketing.
Wow.
The followers, I want our followers not just to be followers, but people who we interact directly to. We could have that connection, because that's what I want, people to get connected to our brands. Terrific. And then wherever they are, they could see Jenny Rivera, they could see Tragos, or they could even see Imperio as a tequila to have in their table, to join with family, friends, or just to even give for a gift.
Hey, and if they are, take a video. Tag these guys.
Okay?
Tag them.
Don't forget to tag us.
Tag us, because he's the one paying attention, folks. You poor man. You've been watching and listening to a very special open bar with Diego Escobedo of 3C, Three Crown Imports in Southern California. Well, in California, I keep calling you Southern, but I know that Ventura County is kind of like North County. You're on that border, north and south, which is kind of cool. It's a beautiful area too.
Yes.
But again, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having us here.
Thank you for allowing me to pick your brain and getting, like I said, the point of view from the back of the house. This was amazing. I love this. I hope we can do it again.
As you said, I'm a young person. I like to learn from people who have already been where I want to go to.
Yeah, there's no sense in reinventing the wheel if you don't have to. Diego, thank you so much
Thank you
for
very
being
much.
with us. I appreciate your time. You've been watching Open Bar. Folks, whatever you do, tomar sabiamente. That means drink wisely.